Hello, blessed souls, and welcome to our 2025 Samhain reading, Messages from the Ancestors. I'm so excited to be with you today. My name is Tulu Loren. If you're new here, welcome. If you're coming back, welcome back. Today we are celebrating our ancestors. If not for them, we would not be here. So we owe them a great deal of thanks. So let's say thank you to them. I have been honoring them all day. I have had my parents come through and Baba come through, and earlier today my partner came by and we spent time together. It was the first time in like almost a year and a half that we actually spent almost a whole day together, which was really lovely. And this was a surprise to me. I felt it, but I wasn't sure. It didn't happen yesterday, so I thought, oh, I bet it's going to happen on November 1st, like kind of like a, but no, it's perfect timing. When I started this, it was 10:49 p.m. and there was 49% on my phone. And you guys know I love every derivative of 13 because I was born on December 13th. And 49 is also the number 13. So that was crazy. And that it was 10:49, 10, 1 and a 0, 1 meaning new beginnings. And 0 is like the Fool in the tarot. There's no end and there's no beginning. It's always ever present. And speaking of ever present, we are going to be working with energy from Evermore. I was setting this up. Oh, first of all, Spirit said, drink some water, get hydrated. As those of you who know, I love music, and I listen to music almost every single time I set up for any spiritual guidance activity. And a lot of times Spirit will speak to me through the music. And as you know, I have used musical titles in the past before, but this was different. My phone is on shuffle most of the time. I literally had to look at my phone because I thought I accidentally hit Taylor Swift radio on my phone because I was singing Champagne Problems as I'm setting it up. And, because Taylor and I share, a birthday, I always think of her so fondly in so many ways. And I'm like, we have to meet in this lifetime. Like, it must happen, especially because she's very spiritually inclined as well. So with that being said, I'm just singing along and, not thinking anything of it. And then the next song comes on and I'm like, this is Taylor. I'm like, did I hit Taylor Swift radio? And I look and I see it's on shuffle. And as I'm listening to Delicate, I literally heard her say the word reputation in the song. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I saw him strung out like 3 readings. And I was like, oh my gosh. I'm like, this is crazy. But I thought it was interesting that even though Delicate was playing, they wanted reputation second. So I just realized, oh my gosh, I'm like, you guys, I didn't put any rings on. It's almost like I feel naked. Hold on, let me put a few rings on. What should we wear? Let's see which ones want to be. I thought this would be a fun way to like clink up the air, with a clink, 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 clink. Okay, so these are my rings. Awesome. Okay. So, oh, they're having me move this one here. Oh, they want this one here. Cool. All right. All right, you guys ready? So, we have reading 1, Champagne Problems, reading 2, Reputation, and reading 3, Delicate, by the glorious and magical and most creative Taylor Swift. Thank you for being our muse. She is our muse for this reading. I don't believe they have anything else to say. I think we're just going to jump into it. Let me see if we have any Do we have any other things or any other group messages you want me to say, or do you want me to pull any cards for the group? Nope, that was it. Just a little description and just to say blessed Samhain, and don't forget to thank your ancestors and send some prayers out to them. You know, if you found yourself here, most likely you're the ancestral breakage in your family. You're the one that is going to stop the madness in your family. You're the one that's going to stop the abuse in your family. You know, whatever it is, you know, insert your story here. But you were brought here today to work with the ancestors. And if you're working with the ancestors, my friend, then you are very powerful. Light worker, angel, whatever you align with, witch, healer, deep down believer in magic, magician, whatever you align with, either way, you are here to work with spirit. So let us begin. I will see you over at your reading. Check for the timestamps in the description box. Blessed be. Aho. Bye-bye. Welcome, reading one. I must tell you, when I looked down and saw that it was at 6:07, 6 and 7 is 13. If you didn't watch the introduction, I spoke of how these readings were inspired by Taylor Swift. And it's ironic, you know, because I don't know why I say that, but to me it is, because my birthday is December 13th as well. So I always think of my birthday as Christmas and, you know, that kind of time. I don't think of Halloween and Samhain. So I thought it was interesting that Spirit had me bring in Taylor Swift and the Unicorn Oracle deck, which they didn't even have me describe in the beginning. I mean, look how magical this setup is. I love it so much. I have to take a screenshot. It's just so pretty. So, you know, because Taylor was born on December 13th, when we started the reading, it was at 10:49 at night. There was 49% on my phone. And I was talking about, I'm like, 49 is a derivative of 13. And then for you to start at 6:07, 13. But also remember that 13 is the number of the divine feminine. It's of the goddess, of the witch. And so I'm very excited to see what your message from the ancestors is, because you chose Champagne Problems, and it's definitely in my top 10 favorite songs of Taylor Swift of all time. And it's on the Evermore album. And I'm no expert whatsoever. I consider myself a Swiftie just because of how much I love her, adore her, you know, but I'm not someone that's been with her from the beginning. So with that part, oh gosh, when I looked down, it was 7:49. Come on. But with that part of it, because 7's about cycles and 49 is again 13, but also 13 is the number 4, and 4 is a balanced number. So I just feel like all of these synchronicities right now, it's like I can just keep going and going and going and going. But your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to listen to Champagne Problems. If they call me to, I'll put links in the description box. Always check in there for some fun little tidbits from the readings, links to various things. But check it out. You may even want to listen to the entire album. And if you were drawn to reading 2 or reading 3, it's the same thing, you know. It's the Reputation album, but Delicate is on Reputation. So Champagne Problems is on Evermore. You may want to listen to the whole album. Maybe you're someone who doesn't even really listen to Taylor Swift, but for some reason, you know, Spirit's like, you're meant to start on that album. You know, you're meant to start at Evermore. Listen to the whole album and see how you feel about their songwriting, their storytelling, you know, whatever. It also could be for some people to be inspired, right? Because she is a muse. She is a creative muse. She's an amazing writer. Her brain is, you know, it's, and I'm not just saying this to be like, do flowers at myself, but sometimes it is kind of creepy in a way to me, like how much she's my doppelganger. When I looked down, it was 9:13. Stop it, Spirit. Because we're in a 9-year 2025. So this is Samhain 2025, and the ancestors are really talking to us. They're not holding back. I had a situation happen earlier today of something I had no idea was going to go down or take place, and it just did. And I just went with the flow of it, and I cried and I released. And you know, sometimes things just have to be said. Sometimes things just have to be, you know. And Champagne Problems, I think one of the reasons why it's one of my favorite songs of theirs is because the writing is so good. You can literally like see the story, you know, like you can really feel how much that pain of that loss and that breakup is. So it could be, that could be connected to you as well. That could be why you were drawn to this. Maybe you know her album and you just love the song, maybe you don't know, but maybe you're dealing with someone who is an alcoholic. I mean, I don't know, like that came up when I was pulling cards for your reading. And I don't always pull cards before the readings like this. I didn't look at them. I made sure I kept my eyes closed, and it was really dark in here. So I just I don't know what your cards are either. So let's dive in. Before we start, let's drink some fresh, clean water. Taking some deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. By the way, right when I said that it was 10:49, come on, that's crazy. All right, so let's get in here. Let's see. Ooh, they said at the same time. They don't always have me do this, so here we go. Oh my gosh, did I not say number 7 was cycles? Remember when I said it's 7? Here, let me turn this towards the... And I feel like for some of you, maybe you wanted to get a screenshot of that. But if you wanted the whole, it's pretty, but I can't get it in there with the lighting. So they didn't have me grab my glasses, but I'm going to grab them right now. So this says, everything has its right time. Honor the cycles of your body. Tune into the moon's magic. This has come up a lot in this tribe over the years. And if you guys remember, for those of you who've been with us a long time, I used to do specifically moon readings. Like that was a big thing for us, was doing the moon cycle readings. And we've spoke about this before with Spirit. I want the candle in there, but I'm trying to... we've spoke about this before with Spirit, how some of you refuse to go by the cycles of the moon, and Spirit is like, stop trying to fight it. You're really deeply connected to it. I'm hearing empath and empaths plural. So, also the way that they had me stage these cards, look at how the abundance card is in the light, and that unipeg is, white, like the light energy of Spirit with a golden horn, and then they have rainbow wings with a rainbow, above their head, and I'm hearing that you're out of the woods, you're out of the blah, 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 blah. Oh my gosh, when I looked down, it was 1311. Come on. Also, I see 1113 a lot. Do you guys see that? I see 3111 or 1113. That's a really powerful angel number, but there's also all those ones, and that's about new beginnings. And the 3 can mean a lot of different things, but I'm not going to say anything about it right now. So let's read what the abundance says. So I'm going to bring it in here so you guys can, if you want to get a screenshot. It says to enjoy the beauty of life. Your supply is unlimited. Look at that. It didn't want to come into focus. Blessings are coming to you. Yes, they are. Believe it. You have to believe it. Start writing things down. Even if it seems silly, it's not silly. Write it down. Put it on a Post-it. Make abundance your mantra. When you wake up in the morning, think like that. If you've never seen The Wizard of Oz, literally that part of the song is they just sound so happy. They're so they're they want you to think like that when you wake up, Stop living in the champagne problems. Shit's over. I mean, one of my favorite parts of this song is, and sometimes things will come to me, and other times I have to sing the song. Are you guys like that? Where you have to sing the song to remember the lyrics. But she talks about something your sister spilled out on the bottle. And now nobody's celebrating, right? Because there's like an old folklore, speaking of Taylor, there's like an old myth that like when you open the champagne, if you spill out on the bottle, it's like bad luck or whatever. So in some cultures. Also, when I looked down, I saw 1515. So that's another angel number to work with. And maybe you see that all the time too, or you see 15 a lot, which is also number 6. And if you put it together, that's all, it comes down to the number 3. So there's that 3 again. Um, but let's see what the book has to say. They don't always call me to look at the book, but when they told me that I was going to be able to read it, I got really excited. Hold on. Okay. Abundance. Enjoy the bounty of life. Your supply is unlimited. Blessings are coming to you. The unicorns bring you great blessings of abundance and invite you to open your arms wide to receive it all. They remind you that you live in a world of plenty. All of the prosperity you have ever dreamed of or desired is right here for you now. The resources you ask for are here in energetic form, waiting for you to allow them to manifest in your world. Dare to believe and be open to receiving in unexpected ways. This rainbow unicorn calls on you to tear down the illusion of scarcity and know that you are an infinite being, receiving from an infinite source in infinite ways. There is no such thing as too much to the universe. It is not greedy, selfish, or unspiritual to want a prosperous life full of riches and blessings. You do not help anyone else to have more by blocking your flow and having less for yourself. The universe is constantly expanding and creating the universe is constantly expanding and creating, and waves of abundance are always flowing in your direction. When you are fully aligned with the divine, your prosperity grows and flows unchecked too. You are of greater service to the world when you are living in a state of abundance, freedom, and joy than when you are worrying about paying your bills. Live from this knowing today and let yourself receive. Feel the joy and positive expectation that comes with knowing abundance of all kinds is already here and more is on its way. Raise your thoughts, feelings, and energy into alignment with plenty. Give thanks for your wealth in advance. Take aligned action when guided to, and invite your bounty to pour in. It's also on page 22. So if that number means anything to anybody, look at how that looks. It's actually kind of beautiful in a way. Do you see though how it looks kind of like out of focus? That's what they're saying. It's like you can see how pretty this looks. You can see the candles and the shimmering of the glitter as it dances in the light, right? You can see that there's beautiful portraits of beautiful, entities in those cards, right? You can see it, but it's not quite clear. They're saying it's time for you to take the blinders off. It's time for you to put your glasses on so you can see. You know what I mean? So let's see what Cycles has to say. I felt this when it was coming through. I have to be honest. I really did feel, hold on. I almost ripped the camera off the stand. I really felt like I was more of a vessel today, even though channeling is always like part of me. I kind of got this vibe from spirit that they really just wanted me to be more of a mouthpiece in terms of like reading from the book, and reading from the cards. If they call me to go more in depth, I will. But that's why they have me very calm with you right now. Okay, so cycles. Everything has its right time. Honor the cycle of your body. Tune into the moon's magic. If something feels like it is not happening, don't force it. Everything has its time and everything has its place. This situation will naturally come to fruition when the time is right. whether it's a business project, a relationship, a journey, a contract, or an opportunity. This unicorn has come into your reading to remind you that we are connected with Mother Earth through the natural rhythm of cycles, the ebb and flow of the tides, the waxing and waning of the moon, and for women, the circle of ovulation and menstruation. Look at where you have fallen out of sync with these cycles and to start working with the moon's magic to bring more flow into your life. Instead of always trying to push through life full steam ahead, allow yourself to rest, retreat, and acknowledge your body's calls for gentleness. Then, when the moon waxes again, or after menstruation, you can get out there again and be proactive and more social. There is so much magic for you to unlock in your life by honoring these cycles. Buy yourself a moon calendar or note down the different phases for each month. Live in the flow of cycles and you will experience the true magic of life. Holy shit, you guys. Look at that. It's on page 33. 22 and 33. You may even want to look up those individually, like 22 and 33 angel numbers, but also 2233 angel number. Wow. And the fact that you're getting like double numbers, also it's like ones and twos and threes. It's like you're on the right path. You got it going. A lot of I will say this, one of the ancestors is telling me that the reason why this is coming up on this particular reading today is you're carrying a lot of ancestral weight, a lot of heaviness. My throat has been super tight. I've been really fighting for words and just feeling like super thirsty. Part of it is I had a nice celebration this morning or this, earlier today. So I'm a little parched. I'm going to drink some more water, because I had a lot of salt and, fun foods and stuff. But I also started to feel it more in like the last 10 minutes, like this very this choking mentality. And they're saying it's not yours. Release it to the ancestors with grace and gratitude. Ask them with love and kindness and reciprocity. Thank them for all that they do for us and tell them thank you for everything that they've done, but you no longer want to carry this. Let spirit know that you're, however you want to use your languaging, but it's, cutting those cords for your ancestors and for yourself and saying, no, this stops here. We don't have scarcity. We live in abundance. And remember that things go in cycles. The whole entire humanity, and at least in our cycles and our generations, right, that we know of, and things that we've experienced, we know that things go in cycles. We know that part of being human is that we have good days and not so good days. That's part of it. It's part of learning and growing and the expansion and awareness of our soul. And when we really understand that we are one, that we are all connected as one being, we can have more empathy and sympathy and forgiveness while people that we know and love, or even a stranger, does something that may be off-putting or, really just appalling to you. But we were sold this bad bill of goods that we want this utopia, this perfection. And there is some truth to this saying that, only heaven is perfect, meaning like, I don't believe there is a heaven. I believe that, I mean, in terms of like the word that they use, like in the Bible and the way I was raised off the Bible, I think that everything is a state of mind and consciousness. And so you can be in a form of quote unquote heaven anywhere on earth, and beyond into the universe. But I feel like when people are like, how come this happened to me? Or why did this happen? Or blah, blah, it's like, it is tough for us to understand that those experiences were given to us to expand us and pull us and push us to be the best versions of ourselves. And they have been pushing us adamantly to get out of our comfort zone for years now. And so many of us in the tribe, I'll be honest, there are times where I just don't even want to do readings anymore. I kind of just want to give up because I'm like, I feel like I'm sometimes just saying the same things over and over and over. And they're like, no, that's the whole point. It's repetition. How we change and evolve and grow is is hearing it over and over and over, right? I mean, you can hear your favorite song a million times, but then you hear it that million and one time after you go through a different experience 20 years later. You're a different person, you've been through different experiences, that song hits you differently. It's like with movies, especially now. And I'm going to be 54 in December, and I've been watching a lot of older things, and it's just been super interesting to now be in the place where I am, to really understand how far I've come and how far we've come, and as a society, as human beings, and how there are so many of us that want to keep moving forward, even though there are those that want to keep us stuck in a time frame, in a bubble, in a holding pattern of control and manipulation. We're seeing past that now, and we're understanding that, and that's what they want you to see past the manipulation and the bullshit. Start telling yourself every single day, look for different mantras. I actually just put out a really great reading, a couple reading. uh, it was really good. If they call me to, I'll put a link in the description box, but it was called couples therapy or something, and it is just for couples, so if you're not in a couple, you may not want to watch it. But I will say this, that every reading had really good mantras in them. If not, just look for a mantra for yourself, um, or more than one. Listen to subliminals. Make sure you know your sources, though, because subliminals can be just as deadly and very scary, which is another thing. Like when the whole spiritual boom started to happen, there were certain things that you would hear all the time, like use your discernment, use your intuition. And that's because it's like you may start falling asleep to something where they're like, you know um you're connected to the divine, blah blah blah, and then you fall asleep, but like in some creepy little subliminal in there, they're really saying things like, worship the sitting American president. You know what I mean? I don't even want to put their word into your beautiful reading or their name, but you know what I mean? Like, I mean, I'm serious. It's like it's just fucking true. This is a matrix. I mean, it really is. you know um I've been really studying mind control and what happened after World War II and the 50s. They've been trying all these mind control experiments on us for years. They call it the Mandela effect for a reason. Like there were certain, they just like fuck with us and say like certain people are dead or this happened or that, and they're like, oh, people are time traveling and dimension, jumping and all these things. Um, and it's like, well, it must be true, right? Like in some form of it, it's true. So we are being confused at every turn right now. So it makes sense that a lot of people are going to go back to what they know, which is, if you come from, or even if you didn't come from uh, a lack mentality, maybe in your adult life you suffered a lack mentality and you didn't want to take money from your parents or something, and I mean, it's just different for everybody. But I definitely feel that we wouldn't have pulled that card. It was starting to rain. I definitely feel like we wouldn't have pulled the card of abundance if it wasn't something that they wanted you to really concentrate on and know that there's nothing wrong with it, right? There's exactly right. Like, why is it if you're spiritual you should have nothing? Well, some spiritual people don't want anything. That's This has been the whole like head fuck of the whole point of spirituality for a lot of people, because we were raised, a lot of us, in very compartmentalized religions. I remember saying to my mom when I was a child, we had moved into this neighborhood and all the kids in the neighborhood were Catholic, and we were the only ones that were like Southern Baptist Christian. And my mom's like, oh, they're Catholics. And I was like, well, what's the difference? I'm like, they read the Bible and worship the Bible too. And my mom's like, they drink in their church and like all these things. And I just didn't understand it. And then my one friend in school was Lutheran, and I'm like, but you're Christian? They're like, yeah. And it was just so confusing. And I'm like, so basically they just, any religion is like, well, we're going to take this religion and then we're going to tweak it to the way that we want it. And then we're going to, you know what I mean? No wonder why everybody's so confused. So the thing that I love about this is look at how they're going towards each other. They want you to see that it's like, it's kind of like, here's, I'm like trying to do this so I don't burn myself. This is like the new version of you, and this is like the old version of you, and they're like about to run into each other. You're so close. You're so close, you don't even realize it. And remember this, keep this in mind, because Spirit has been reminding me in this in meditation so much over the last several weeks. And that is, we are in the year of the snake. It's all about shedding our skin and really, 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 really letting go of the past and not just talking about it or not just saying, oh, I'm going to do it one day. So we have until, February when the year of the horse comes in. And I don't think it's an accident. I mean, look at basically unicorns and unipegs. They're horses. They're all the same. You know what I mean? They come from the same family. I have worked with so many horses that have a colic where that horn should be, and I'll look at them and I'm like, oh, I see I'll see your horn. Oh my gosh, I can tell you so many stories, literally. But I had one, he was magical. I called him Ghost because he was all black except for his face was white. But like the black looked like it was like coming up around like his face. It looked like he was wearing a mask and his eyes were blue. It was like he was like part albino or something. He was so beautiful and so magical and mystical. And he had a little colic where the horn would be. And I remember when I met him and they told me his name, I named him Ghost because that's what he looked like to me. He looked like a ghost. Like he almost looked like a Dios de los Muertos, like, like a Day of the Dead horse, like where it's like a skeleton. It's hard to explain, but like where the white would hit his cheekbones, he was just so magical. And I was like, oh, I'm like, look at you. And then he let me pet him right away and I gave him a hug. And when I pulled back and I saw the colic, I said, oh my goodness. I said, you're a unicorn. And he like bowed his head like a yes. And I'm like, oh, I was like, yay. And he helped inspire me to write. And, it's like they are magical, mythical creatures. So the year of the horse might as well be the year of the unicorn, as far as I'm concerned. So keep that in mind that we're about to go into more of a mythical time on earth. It takes time. It's not a light switch moment. It's going to take years for us to get there. Hopefully, for some of us, we'll be able to see it more in our lifetime. It will get better. Every year will get better. But remember that things do have to fall apart before they can fall back together. And they wanted you to remember that you are so special and that the earth is just going through cycles and so are you. And you're very connected to it because you're an empath and you're sensitive. So start looking at everything with abundant eyes. Even when something happens, it's not happening to you, it's happening for you. You don't always have to look for the answers or the magic in that moment, but it will come to you in time if you allow it. Just be open and picture yourself, like picture opening your wallet and like, there's $100 bills, like picture, your bank account. There are people who, put those things out on social media where they're like, your checking account balance is $14 million, 600,000. You know what I mean? Like that kind of stuff. It's not weird. It's not crazy. It's real. It's just energy. It's just energy. It's just some of them and some of the corrupt people have learned to manipulate the energy differently than others. Most people will tell you that on paper, like the sitting American president is a billionaire, but if he had to come clean, this is what they say, is that if he had to come clean and all of his debts be called at one time, he would be broke. Because he's like one of those people that robs Peter to pay Paul. He's got money into this, he's got money into that, and you know what I mean? But like it's all entanglement. Why do you think he got into the cryptocurrency and all that? Because it's like, it's kind of like, ooh, look it over here. Oh no, look it over here. You know what I mean? It's like, it's all in the, it's like, do you ever see those magic tricks where they're like moving like the things around and they're like, where is the, where is the shell? Which one is it under? And they're moving them around and they're like, is it under this one? And people like bet. It's like, that's basically what it is. It's all an illusion. And they want you to look at it like that, but in a positive way. Why don't you deserve that? Why can't you have that? Of course you can. Think of like rainbows, and it could be, it's time for some of you. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that, number one, there's butterflies in there, so you may want to work with butterfly spirit medicine, um, in the cycles card, but then, and obviously with the moon. But look at how prancy the abundance card is. You may want to start cleaning up the outside. There, there may be some part of you that wants a makeover. Maybe, start with whatever is calling to you first, whether it's your hair or your makeup, or, for me, it was like doing my nails again. And I never thought that I would feel so much better and feel so empowered. I haven't colored my hair. I have 3 different colors that have been sitting with me for months. And I'm like, every time I go, I'm like, I'm not 100%. I'm like, when I'm 100%, I'll color my hair, but it's here and it's available for when that day comes. Those are the colors that I'm looking at. I went out and invested in myself and bought some new clothes because I was looking at my clothes. I'm like, I don't feel like this is me. Maybe you needed a new haircut, whatever it is. Maybe you need a change of scenery. I heard moving. Maybe it's time for somebody to move. I also saw somebody moving out of an apartment with like other people and moving into their own little spot, and that you didn't even realize that you would love it that much. Like, and I'm seeing you in a really little spot where, like, we in America we call it like a New York apartment, meaning like, maybe super small, like 200 square feet or something. I mean, I live in 350 square feet, and it's fine. Like, I don't need any more than that. I'm just one person. But you'd be surprised. I've lived in really tiny apartments. I lived in this one apartment. It was an old vintage building. And I swear that I think they actually like took bigger apartments and like condensed and, like, you know what I mean? Chopped them up just so they can make more money because the neighborhood got, really pricey. But I wanted to be there and I love the neighborhood and I can walk to things and whatever. To me, it was worth it. But, so I don't know who that's for, but it's about change and transformation right now. So just focus on you. Don't concern yourself with what's going on in the world. Just send it peace, love, and light. Spirit will work it out. Remember, every single one of us are going through our own karma, dharma. We can go on and on and on, right? We're all going through our own, path and purpose, and that is what you are here to concentrate on. Your path and your purpose. And abundance is your birthright, and happiness is your birthright. And it's interesting because this was the only card that I was called to pull for Samhain today for the tribe. And I didn't know that it was going to come, but look at the moons on there, you guys. I think this was really meant for you. Happiness is your birthright, honey. Happiness is your birthright. Until next time. Okay, let me make sure. I think we're done, but I always like to do a confirmation. Do we have any more messages for reading one? Okay, you guys. So make sure to check out Champagne Problems, the song. And if you're really wanting to go down like a deeper like path with yourself, listen to the whole album. When you have time to listen to the whole album, maybe it's cleaning your house or doing the dishes or going on a drive, whatever it is, but listen to the whole album. I feel like you're meant to do that. All right. Blessed Samhain. Blessed be the ancestors. We love you so much. And all of my information is on this channel if you want to work with me or if you would like to donate anything. And remember that prayers are free. We love you so much. Until next time, take good care of yourselves and each other. Blessed be. Oh, bye. Welcome, reading two. I think it's so powerful. Your reading started at 3856. 38 is 11 and 56 is 11. So if you're somebody who sees 1111 a lot, or if 1111 is significant to you, I feel like this reading is for you. And as you know, you chose it. You chose Reputation. Even if you don't know Taylor Swift's music, or are not a fan, it's a really great album. And your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to listen to the entire album. and from beginning to end if you can, because Taylor's very specific and she tells stories in her albums. She's quite the storyteller, and I feel like maybe there'll be some alignment for you and where you're at in your life. If you There may be some pearls of wisdom in there for you as well. She's a powerful witch too. We share a birthday. My birthday is December 13th as well. And the way this, I don't know if if you didn't watch the intro, the way this reading came together was just really powerful and really cool. So I don't believe there are any accidents, and just all the 13s and the alignments have been so crazy. So blessed Samhain 2025, blessed ancestors, with grace and gratitude, we welcome them and you into my home today. The portal is open for your reading too. Let's dive in. My eyes are fixated on this card. I do not know what your cards are either. I went blindfolded, so let's see what your message is. Okay, so we're going to move this candle over here so we can see. Ooh, possibility. There's a possibility. You know that song? It's the scene in New Moon from Twilight. I think it's from New Moon. I'm almost positive, where Edward has left and she's like fallen into depression, and she's singing that song. Oh, it's so powerful. It's Spirit. If Spirit calls me to, I will put a link in the description box. Always look in the description box for fun little links to things. And also I'll put a link to the Reputation album so that you can see it. So let's look and see what these words say. I have to get in a little bit closer, and I have to put my little spectacles on. So it says possibility. Raise your standards, elevate your expectations. You have unlimited potential. Wow. I love that, raise your standards is really sticking out. Elevate your expectations. You have unlimited potential. Also, I'm hearing for some of you, what's that old saying? People treat us the way we allow them to treat us. Which, by the way, can we talk about, I forgot to say this in reading one, but can we talk about the purple flame that are happening on these candles right now with the ancestors? Like this purple flame, it's happening on this one too. Can you see it? It's almost like it's like a mimic or like a mirror, but they are definitely here. The other day, out of nowhere, my candle, there was no wind, nothing. It started doing like these spirals. It was so cool. I got some cool video of it. But anyway, this just looks really magical. Your whole reading right now looks so magical. And this almost feels like, I mean, obviously I don't know what's behind this card, but it almost looks like, this looks like a really dark place. And then like, do you see the way the candle is reflecting the light off of there? I almost feel like this is you. Like wherever you are, I feel like you're this little light in the world in this dark place. But yeah, that song is just playing over and over and over in my head. I don't know it exactly. I just, I love the soundtrack from all the Twilight movies, from the whole series is really good. And I just remember her, she's so somber, but it's like she's trying so hard to like have happiness in her heart, but she's just not feeling it, right? It's like, because she's like, there's a possibility, and it's just this very like almost like monotone, and then I don't know the words, but she's like, do 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 do. It's like there's almost like this, like she's hopeful. And that's what I feel like you guys are. I feel like you're kind of like this little light, this little spark in like the darkness, and you're fighting and you're trying so hard. Like I feel like you're on this trajectory, but you're not alone. So let's hear what the book has to say. Okay, this magnificent winged horse encourages you to hold a bigger vision for this situation and for every aspect of your life. She dares you to elevate your thoughts, feelings, and energy to a much higher level and take your dreams beyond anything you have imagined before. Be willing to focus only on the highest outcome and know that you deserve the best, and get excited about the new possibilities available to you. This card is a reminder to catch yourself when you think small about yourself or in life, and to trust there is so much more available to you. If you knew any outcome was possible, what would you choose? How would you like a certain situation to unfold? What results would light you up? What life do you truly desire? So if you want to take a screenshot of that, those questions might really help you. I had to get in the light for me, but I'm trying to get in there for you so I could read it. Oh. But these questions are really powerful, because these are messages from the ancestors on Samhain, right? This is when the veil is the thinnest. And I love that they're having me do this right now, because when I started this reading, it was 10:49 at night. So I love that, I can feel them as the veil gets thinner. They are here and I can feel them, and they want you to connect with them. Whenever you watch this, it's timeless. But if you watch it, hopefully I'll get this up, before I go to bed tonight. So you won't see it till November 1st. But, the veil will still be, open. Like this portal between us and the ancestors will still be open until usually the night of the 2nd is when it starts to close. So keep that in mind. That's why in some cultures, like Dios de los Muertos, like that's the Day of the Dead. In some cultures, I believe they celebrate it on November 2nd. But it's a festival and it goes on for days, and then they close it out on the 2nd. But it's celebrated all over the world. But it's also the bringing of the harvest. The pagans, this is when we worked so hard, and now we get to have a few months, especially in the Northern Hemisphere, right? Like we're going into winter after this. So, this is about bringing in the harvest. So it says, let your imagination soar like this radiant winged horse and take your expectations higher and higher. If any doubt comes up during your day, ask yourself, does this brighter possibility exist in the something? Hold on, you guys. I feel like I'm reading backwards. Hold on. Does this brighter possibility exist in the field of infinite possibilities? Of course, the answer is yes, as well as something even better. So use this truth to deepen your faith in miracles and expect blessings beyond your wildest dreams. It's on page 61, which is also the number 7. So, if you were drawn to reading 1, we spoke of very similar things, and about that it is a mindset. I had this conversation with someone I love so dearly today, and I was trying to explain to them that, there's a difference of, saying one thing and living another way, or basically ignoring the fact that energy reciprocates energy. So if you're putting energy out into the world that you don't deserve something, then the world goes, oh, okay, they don't deserve something, so I'm not going to give them anything, and they move on. Right? But the interesting thing is, this is where I think science and spirituality sometimes are, scientists admit, they're like, yeah, there's definitely something about energy. Like there's something about, but earlier I wanted to say that what I thought was really interesting is that I started practicing exactly what they're saying, and things have been happening for me. And I get frustrated sometimes because I'll say, okay, well, I'm manifesting it, or okay, I'm thinking positive, or okay, and then that's when spirit will remind me, you're also in the waiting room. There's divine timing as well. So we have to keep that in consideration. So in the interim, though, I notice that when I really need something and I say, Spirit, I need this thing, it shows up. And I've been noticing in the last several months that it shows up almost instantaneous. Here's recently, my stove broke down. I reached out to my partner and I was like, oh man, I'm like, the stove broke down. They're like, hey, ask our landlord. They're like, ask them if if they still have that stove oven combo up but, and I'm like, what are you talking about? They're like, yeah, remember I told you? I'm like, no, I don't remember that. Long story short, my landlord's like, oh no, I didn't see that, but I'll go check. He calls me up and he's like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know it was there, blah, blah, blah. Cause he buys a lot of properties and like flips them. And he's like, I didn't even know it was there. It was there when I bought it. And he's like, yeah, it's like brand new in the box. And I have been looking, I'd just been using a stove because we live in a tiny home and we were off grid forever. So I didn't have electricity. So we just used a propane stove. And I've been looking for a stove, and he gives us this like brand new, I mean, it's old, but it's like new. I mean, it's like new old, but it's cool and it really works. And it's a camp stove. So it's not like whatever, but it's getting the job done. It has an oven and it has two burners on it. It's perfect. The size, it literally fit in the space where I was putting it, like perfectly, literally, like where I go, dude, I don't know if it's gonna fit, and it slid right in it. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm like, that's crazy. You know what I mean? And this is some random thing that was like left in a house, and so have faith. In less than 24 hours, I went from having, no stove to like getting a stove and an oven, which I was looking for. So it's those little things, and it may not be what I wanted, but it's what I need right now. Drink some water. So keep that in your mind, okay? It's all about thinking positive. If you can believe it, it can happen. You want to be on Broadway? Make it happen. Find a way. You want to write a book? Make it happen. Find a way. You have to believe in yourself. You have to believe that, I think a lot of people, whether you like her or don't like her or whatever, but J.K. Rowling's story is very inspiring, and she's not the only one. You hear these kind of stories all the time where people work their asses off and they were just a person like you who had a regular job, who, you know what I mean, and were doing things on the side or doing things on the weekend and busting their ass every day, going towards their dream. You have to work towards your dream. You have to put the work in. It's taken me years to grow my YouTube channels. I work at them almost every single day, even if it's 5 minutes a day, even if it's, some days I'm doing spirit work all day long, hours, 8, 9 hours. I don't get paid. I'm not on a salary, but I know it's part of my purpose. And I know that when the time is right, and when everything aligns, because I'm doing the work, I'm baby stepping, you know what I mean? Like, I'm doing the work, I'm baby stepping this. I feel like this flame wants more attention. But you have to do the work every day. And now I realize that it is about timing. So don't give up. Let's go to your second card. Okay. Oh, this is one of my favorite cards of all time in this deck. It's so beautiful. It's a little dark, so it's hard to see. Here, let's see. Look at that beautiful dark black horse. Strength. And I feel like you're going to need everything to get through this. It says, this challenge will make you stronger. You will get through to the other side. I have the chills all over my body, you guys. Look for the gifts in this situation. Exactly. Don't look at it like, oh, they did it to me. It's about like doing it for you. Change the narrative. Flip the script. Don't play the victim. It's too easy to play the victim. It really is. I had something with someone recently where normally I would like treat them with kid gloves, but I was like, we've been going through this for years and we've always like been honest with each other. And I was just like, dude, stop. I'm like, you're going into victim mode. I'm like, everything you're saying is like a victim. It's like this, like, why is this happening to me? And it's like, when you know that it's for you, especially if you found yourself to this channel and you're new, you're divine. I mean, we're all divine, but you know what I mean? Like, you're obviously a light worker of some kind or a spiritual, healer, all of the above. And, this is a matrix. Like, Earth is a training ground. If you can have some levity and laughter through it, Of course, horrific things are happening. They want us to be terrified. They want us to be scared. This is a worldwide thing. This is something that's been going on. You know, they used to talk about the Cold War between Russia and the United States. And a Cold War just means that it's things that are happening like underground. You know, it's not like an in your face war. And I don't feel like we in the United States, it's always been here. Like, even though Hitler died and all that stuff, it's like they never went away. Those people still, you know, existed, had children, had people, you know what I mean? Like that hate didn't. I'm so sorry, you guys. Ooh, isn't that weird? We were talking about something so heavy. That was intense. Look at that. I'm going to leave it like that. Look at that cool lighting. But you know what I'm saying? I'm sorry if that hurt your ears, my loves. I'm so sorry. But that's what I'm saying. Oh, look at it now. Look at it. Oh, it's so intense. Right? Like, that's some dark fucking shit. And now it's just coming out. That's why they're like, make America great again. They're like, no, you want to stay in this fucking, you know, poverty consciousness. No, you want to stay in this, that you don't, there are no possibilities for you. Like, you know, do you ever see those movies or like a TV show or something where like they'll say, I'm going to take this off because I think that charger, I got caught up in it. You know, like, nobody in my family's ever done this, or nobody in my family has ever, you know, been smart enough to accomplish that, or, oh, look at that flame, right? Exactly. And they're like, get that shit out of your head. And also remember that you're born into certain families for a reason, you know? So maybe you were born into a really tough situation, or maybe you grew up in a tough situation, or you're in a tough situation now. And Spirit's like, yeah, but you gave yourself these situations to remind you how strong you are. I mean, think about it. If you have everything you could ever want, and you could do whatever you wanted to do every single day, and you were never challenged, you'd get bored after a while. You know, I had this conversation with someone recently about that, where I'm like, you know, if you're born and raised in trauma and chaos, you may seek peace and you may seek calmness, but until you heal that rooted energy of that, it will come to you, and you will be a chaos magnet, and you will be a trauma magnet, because you are comfortable there. It's so weird to think that we are comfortable in our traumas, but it's true. And so for some of you, it's going to be, you know, it's at the root, and it needs to be pulled, because you put this in your narrative and your storyline, you know, like, look at it like this, like, you're the hero of the story, right? Each one of us, we are the star of our own movie. But in this movie, you guys, you know, for reading too, like, you are the hero. And, you know, you see these movies, like, look at Princess Bride. Perfect example, right? He starts out as this like sweet boy, and like dewy-eyed, you know, dewy skin, doe-eyed, you know, beautiful boy that she falls in love with. And then, you know, because of things that happen to him and happen for him, right? But happen to whatever he becomes. If you've never seen Princess Bride, I don't want to give it away, but, you know, basically he becomes, you know, a warrior. He becomes a fighter, but not because of any other reason, is that out of loss. And some of the greatest stories ever told, and the greatest warriors of all time, you know, became that way. They became brave. You know, what's that old saying? Let me see if I can remember it. Something about being brave isn't being fearless. It's about being scared and doing it anyway. So what is it in your life, you know, out of all those questions and everything that they asked you, like, what is it in your life that needs attention in this area? So let's go to the Strength card. Such a beautiful card. Oh, this is beautiful. This challenge will make you stronger. You will get through to the other side and look for the gifts in this situation. Okay. When pressure is applied to coal, it transforms into glittering diamonds. We are similarly tested at points on our soul journey so our hearts can let in more love, our wisdom can deepen, and we can rise higher into our light. You may be facing a challenge, be grieving for a loved one, or have had your heart broken. You may be feeling scared and alone. Call on the unicorns to hold you, love you, and support you. Let them carry you on their backs as you go through their deep initiation. Let yourself grieve or feel vulnerable for as long as you need to in order to fully heal. Know that you do have the strength to come through on the other side, and you will. You have been through many trials and many lifetimes. You have prevailed through all of them. When you are ready, look for the hidden gift in this experience and the reason your soul called it in for you at this time. Know that just like that piece of coal, you will emerge from this experience glittering and bright like a diamond. Shine bright like a diamond. Rihanna. Yes. So obviously you guys are going through something, something really heavy. I really felt it when I was reading that. I said this in reading one, and I'll say it to you as well. It's interesting how this kind of came together and late at night. And I was like, oh, Spirit, I'm like, I'm sure I can do, if you think I can do this, I'll do it. But I can feel when I'm channeling more, and I can feel when I'm a messenger. And I rarely read the book in this deck. So I feel like these messages were for who needed them today. Oh my gosh, you guys, no shit. I looked up. It was 1:01:11. It was 1 hour, 1 minute, and 11 seconds. I'm pretty much sure we're going to leave it right there. But let's see. Do we have any more? Oh, do we have any more messages for reading 2 right now? Any at all? Okay. I had something that came through earlier, and I was wondering which reading it was for, and I just wanted to see if it was for you. It might be for reading 3. Okay, do we have any more messages for reading 2? Nope. Any ancestors that want to speak through or talk? Because that candle, it was not like that in reading 1. So I am happy to channel for anybody. Okay. So I'm hearing Greg, Norma, and then I heard like Norma Jean. So but I heard Norma, like just the name, and then Norma Jean, but something with Marilyn Monroe. Wow, that's hitting a little personal note for me. That's interesting. Okay. Are there any more messages or any more hellos from the other side? Timothy or Terry. And these are just like shout outs from the other side. So if any of these names connect with you from the other side, Grandpa Joe. And I'm hearing Jojo, like I almost feel like maybe you were named after your grandpa, a Grandpa Joe, but maybe they called you Jojo or something. I know a Josephine, we call her Jojo, but I don't know if that's who that's for. It's coming through as Terrence now, not just Terry, Terrence. But he feels it. He kind of looks like he's dressed from the 70s, but like a 70s haircut, but like a 70s like a nice sweater and slacks, you know what I mean? Like not like a conservative 70s man. I'm not sure who that is. And then I'm also hearing golf, and I'm seeing like really funny golf pants. So I don't know if that means anything to anybody. Grandpa George. Tiffany, Stephanie. My throat chakra. Are there any more? So if any of those resonate with you, those are little hellos and I love yous from the other side, and that they're looking out for you. And they want you to remember that this is for everybody. We just change form. That's it. Sometimes I have a hard time taking this place seriously too. But then I do remember that it's okay, and nothing lasts forever. You know, I have moments where I like beat the shit out of myself about like my mom, like why didn't I do this, or you know, why didn't I do that, or you know, if I'd known that was the last time I was going to see her, I would have hugged her longer. You know what I mean? Like we can all beat the shit out of ourselves, but it's so silly because everything is meant to leave it where it is. Believe it or not, we really do write these stories before we come over here. There are definitely bits and pieces in the free will that we are allowed to change here and there, but for the most part, they're saying just follow your heart, listen to your intuition, listen to your heart when it's calling for you. That's been coming through a lot too. Um, okay, that's it. And also, don't forget to check out the Reputation album. Listen to it. And if you're drawn to the other readings, please go and check them out. All right, do you have any more messages for reading too? All right, you guys, until next time, all of my information is on this channel if you'd like to work with me or if you'd like to contribute to this channel in any way, shape, or form. And remember that prayer is always free. Oh, did you see that little fairy? I love it. Oh my gosh, there's like little fairies talking to you guys. Until next time, take good care of yourselves and each other. We love you. Blessed be and blessed Samhain. Oh, bye. Welcome, reading 3. Blessed Samhain 2025. Oh, I knew the spider wanted to come in. This morning I was going to wash my face and it was very interesting. When I went to dry my face, there was a very large dark spider on my very white towel. And there's a whole story with that, but that's happened to me so much in my life. I can't even tell you. It's hilarious, but I love spiders. I ended up hanging out with her. She's super awesome. I'm like, dude, you know what? I'm like, I really kind of felt like that towel was, I needed a new towel anyway. So it was kind of like she did me a favor. She did me a solid. And I have such a deep admiration for spiders. They are so magical. Please work with the spider spirit medicine. They wanted to work with you. And when I was putting this altar together, I kept seeing spider, like I have these cute little plastic spiders, different colors. And I kept trying to put the purple one in and it just didn't work. And long story short, I thought we weren't going to use them at all. And then as I was setting yours up, I saw the orange spider and I was like, oh, I love it. So right there tells me just how exquisite and amazing you are. So if you didn't watch the intro, we are doing these Blessed Samhain readings over Taylor Swift songs. I spoke about it in the description, so you can go listen to it there. I don't want to regurgitate the same things over and over, but I do want to tell you that it was quite inspired and very cool and very magical. So you chose Delicate, and I must tell you, you pulled the most cards. The other readings were very powerful. If you were drawn to them, check them out. If you're not, don't make something your story that's not your story. But let's dive in and look and see what you got going on. I'm hearing, just to start with the top one. So we have beep, 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 beep. Oh, freedom. Freedom. Oh, look at how beautiful that is. That's you. That's you, reading 3. Let me put my glasses on. Freedom. Live wild and free. Choose your freedom. Claim your independence. And as we said at the beginning, I'm sure you saw, I'm going to take a screenshot. That's nice. I'm sure you saw that this is like blanket statements, like messages you need to hear from the ancestors right now. And I'm hearing for some of you, this is going to be tough to hear, okay? So just brace yourself. For some of you, I just saw like, it looked like an old, really old, like Chinese encampment, like, oh, like a prisoner of war situation. So, you know, you have ancestors. Oh, I got the chills. You have ancestors that want you to remember that your freedom is only free because of those who died for it. You know? And I feel like there may be some of you, like maybe you cry or maybe you pray a lot for like what's going on the planet because you feel guilty that you have certain freedoms and luxuries while other people are suffering. They're like, yeah, but remember, Jennifer Lawrence, I saw this interview with her the other day and it was quite bone chilling. Somebody from, I don't know, somewhere in Europe, I didn't hear like where he was from when they announced him, but it was a press conference and he basically asked her how she felt about what was happening around the world and that she's a mother and like how does she explain to her children like what's happening to other kids in the world. It's hard to shelter kids now from things that are happening in the world. And she spoke so eloquently, but the last thing she said that was so bone chilling to me was she said, it's so easy to look the other way when it's not happening to you on your soil. She goes, until it does. And she's like, and you have to remember that if it happened to them, it can just as easily happen to you. So freedom isn't free. And it was really powerful and it was really poignant. And so I'm hearing, there may be some of you who want to work in politics or be an activist. And I'm hearing, yes, like use your voice. If not now, when? This is something that's come up over and over and over for our tribe over the years. If not now, when? Also, it's so interesting because when they had me put the card there, I didn't really think anything of it until now. And they're like, look at where the flame is reflecting onto it's like kind of in the root chakra, right? It's like almost they're private. So I guess it technically kind of is, but it's like, if you're looking at the Pegasus, right? Like if they're chakras, if they had chakras like a human, but I feel like they're trying to talk about and maybe it is about our reproductive areas, our root chakra and our sacral chakra, that area. That's what needs to be aligned. That's what we need to work on because those are the freedoms that are being taken away from us is, telling us who we should be, telling us who we should or shouldn't be or should or shouldn't love. We've been shit on for a long time. Also, let's take a break and drink some water. And we are really blessed today because Spirit is letting me read from this book. And I rarely do. And I love it so much because it always has such beautiful insight. But a lot of times when we use these cards, they use them more in like a directive for channeling. So here we go. Freedom. Live wild and free, choose your freedom, claim your independence. You are a free spirit with an infinite soul who cannot and should not be caged. It is time to forge your own path through life and create everything you want. Oh, did you hear how I went? You want? I was like Peter Brady, when it's time to change. I'm like, for some people, you'd be like, what? For those of you who grew up with Brady Bunch, you know what I'm talking about. But seriously, do you see how that is? Because I am just reading, right? But I'm also channeling, and I feel like that is how you guys are feeling, right? Like that kind of, it almost felt like you, almost like a powerless, but you do have power. You do have the freedom to change it. So let me read that again. It is time to forge your own path through life and create everything you want, regardless of how others think you should live. You may have held back to please someone or to protect yourself from judgment. You may have put your dreams on hold, believing they are too wild and outrageous, or that you don't deserve a life that magical. You may have been waiting for approval from someone who will never give it. Now your heart is calling you to freedom. It is time to create the reality that will light you up the most and allow you to be true to your soul.
It is time to break the chains of limitations that delay your dreams and remember that anything is possible. It is time to stop caring what others may think of your life choices or even or even or how envious throat chakra, right? It's hard to hear and admit and even think that people can be that way, but they can. It is time to stop caring what others may think of your life choices or how envious they may be of your freedom and do it anyway. This beautiful winged horse invites you to ride on her back high above the judgments and into the magic of infinite possibilities. She encourages you to fly free, to let your hair stream in the wind, and to take pleasure in your new life. You are a free spirit. Soar into your wondrous life and never look back. It's also on page 39, which comes out to the number 3. So maybe you see threes a lot, or maybe 3 is significant to you. So I'm going to shuffle the cards and, oh, no, they want them in this order. Okay. It's interesting. I felt like they wanted this one. I love this. Got to get a screenshot. They really wanted this one by itself, but now it's interesting because I'm feeling like now they want you to see the rest of them. So let me get you set up for success here. Sorry, grandmother. All right. And I don't know if they want you to see the words because I'm like, are you sure about that? Oh, okay. Oh, so action was in reverse. So I feel like some of you know what you need to do, or you know certain things, but you're not taking action where you need to. Oh, and they're not even showing me this one. It's like, it's almost like glued behind that pumpkin. And they had me put that pumpkin there for a reason. So we have freedom, trust, and action. But there's something going on here. Look at how magical you are. Look at your reading. Honestly, I love spirit so much. I know people, probably think I just sit around and, eat bonbons all day or whatever, but it's like, this is the shit I'm doing. This is like the connection. All day long, I just laugh at the awesomeness of spirit. I really do. I'll like, especially if I'm working on something and it's not going the way I want it to go, but it always goes better than I can plan. And if it doesn't go the way I wanted it to go, I know that it's because that's the way it's supposed to be. But you're having a really tough time trusting spirit right now. I'm also hearing some of you are angry. Oh, I just got the chills. Some of you are angry with spirit. Also, somebody in this reading lost somebody in the last 6 months or less. Somebody lost somebody. And it's either they died 6 months ago or you've known for 6 months and they just died in like the last 3 weeks or a month. Man, my eyes are really drawn to this pink in here. We'll get to that card. But isn't it interesting? Did you guys notice in this card, you've got these streams of light coming, and then in this card, they're bursting out of the streams of light in the sky. And it's interesting because this one, they're on the ground, and this one, they're in the air. That's so powerful. I want you to really look at these visuals for a minute because this is you. Like, this is your story, reading 3. Like, this is about you. This isn't about anything or anyone else but you. And there's fear around this one. So we're going to get back to this because there's literally like so much fear around that. And it's interesting because initially I saw fear around the trust card. And it's still there. I just watched this movie and they had like these dark energies, like these dark spirits, and they would come in the form of this kind of like black smoke, and That's what this feels like. I feel like some of you, it's time to get really serious about regularly smudging yourself. I'm getting the vibe that you guys are real, like real true sensitives. You know what I mean? I know people are like, oh, we're sensitives or whatever, but there are some that it's like, you may be sensitive, but you're not an empath. You know what I mean? You guys are like everything is very sensitive to you. So, smudging, ringing bells, when you're feeling low or the dark voices are coming in, just remember this. If you ever have any voice in your head that speaks to you negatively, that is not yours. That doesn't belong to you. You would never say those things to yourself. That comes from somewhere in a filtered down from something. And if you found yourself to this reading, these are messages from the ancestors. So these are your ancestors telling you that you are here to be that break. You are here to release and let go of the pain and suffering. You are here to say, I do trust you, Spirit. And it's time for you to take some action too. Because I feel like for those of you who are feeling lack, like if you're drawn to reading 1 or 2, we spoke a lot of like lack mentality and like, affirmations and like, it's like you're not just speaking yourself into being, but you're speaking yourself into a different timeline, a different place. And what's interesting is that when I was growing up as a kid, I remember that people are like, oh, that's only for famous people, or we're not famous, or like that'll never happen to us. And then cut to, I moved to Los Angeles when I'm 23. And within like the first few months I was there, I saw so many celebrities. And when I would go home and tell my family like certain things, they'd be like, you're lying. That didn't happen. I'm like, what do you mean it didn't happen? I'm like, yes, it did. I'm like, they live there. What do you think? I'm like, especially because, where I was working, we constantly did celebrity things. I worked at the Beverly Hills Planet Hollywood. So like, it was basically like at that time, as silly as this may sound, but it was like we were famous servers. You know what I mean? Like I had to go through 4 interviews, 880 people interviewed for my job, and they only hired 50, and I was one of them. And that's a really big deal. And so it may have even been lower. I think we had 50 transfers, I think, because there were 88 servers. So I think there might have only been 38 of us that were hired out of 800 and something. And that's like they had to cut it off because the line was too long. They're like, we can't take any more. And they turned it into a big publicity stunt and blah, blah, blah. But anyway, my family couldn't believe that. They couldn't believe that that was real. And I couldn't either at first, right? But then after seeing it on a regular basis, after talking to them, realizing they're just fucking people and they put their pants on one leg at a time, as my mom used to say, just like everybody else, right? They still poop and pee like everybody else. Like, they're just people. And it's like we became like these attainable, unattainable energies. And then the internet comes and it's like now we see people are celebrities. My guilty pleasure is to look at people.com. At least it used to be. Now I look at it and I'm just like, I don't know any of these people. I don't watch any of these shows. I don't care about any of this, like, they're like this influencer, that influencer. I'm like, I don't know these people. Like I'm like, I don't get it, And it's like now people are just famous for being famous, or like somebody makes the best key lime pie and they become famous. You know what I mean? So it's good though, because it makes you realize that, when I was in that world, it was unattainable. The internet didn't exist, So the world has changed so much. Everything is possible. I have seen YouTube channels, and even if they paid for it, whatever, but I've seen YouTube channels have like millions of subscribers on like literally like someone who's like watching paint dry, or like, you know what I mean? Where it's like, it's just the silliest, craziest shit. So whatever you're dreaming of, whatever you're thinking about, you need to take action on it now. And the ancestors are saying like your window, your door is closing. Astrologically speaking,
This is something they've been saying to us for a long time. For some of us, like our windows are very narrow. It's not saying that it won't happen. It's just that, there's a reason why certain things were put in place. And if you're feeling like that click, 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 like if you feel like, your clock is ticking, so to speak, it probably is because it's, spirit's like trying to push you out of your comfort zone to say like, here, this is the life you want, right? Like this is what you keep saying you want, but if you want this, you have to actually go and get it. There is nothing holding you back but you. Especially now with like how we can just do things from our phones. We don't even need to, you know what I mean? Like you don't have to have fancy equipment or software or pay somebody. It's like you can literally go live. There's just all these things that you can do on all these different platforms now. So I'm almost getting the vibe from spirit, like there's no excuse. It's not like, oh, I can't do that for a living. There's nothing like that near me, but I bet there's something online that's similar. you know I had a friend who lived in a really small town, and she's like, well, what am I going to do, open my little boutique? She made all these she loved to crochet and make stuff, and I'm like, dude, you have beautiful things. And I worked in high fashion, and I said, really rich people, I'm like, I've seen them pay for, you know if you made that in like, alpaca and whatever, I'm like, you can get hundreds of dollars for that instead of getting like $20. And she's like, well, I only paid $5 for the yarn. I'm like, yeah, but it's not about that. I mean, I hear what you're saying, but it's also like your creativity, your time, I'm like, you have to put all that into it when you're your own business person. So long story short, drink water. You know, those are the kind of things where it's like, I get what you're saying, that it might not be gangbusters where you live, but now there's Etsy and all these other platforms where you can sell it online. If you can get to a post office, you know what I mean? So I'm hearing from spirit, like basically they're saying no more excuses. So we're going to get into the action card. And this is tough love. This isn't with anger or malice. This is like, hey, we love you and you're super gifted and you have a lot to give and you were brought here for a purpose. Now is the perfect time to act. Take inspired action towards your dreams. Move forward with confidence. Yeah, I really do feel that for you, reading 3. It's so, so strong. So let's hear what the book has to say. Oh, let me make sure, because the book flew on the floor, and the way it flew on the floor, it was like somebody just like, like if somebody comes up and like knocks a book out of your hand, it literally felt like somebody just did that to me. Do we want to read that out of the book out for this one at all? They're saying no, it's just verbalized. It's more like in-depth verbalized, but I feel like they're like, you get the gist, you know what I'm saying? So let's go to trust though, because that one I do feel like it. And if spirit, if you don't want me to, it's okay if you knock the book out of my hands again. That was crazy though. It literally felt like, seriously, like, like in the movies when the bully's like, meh, and they go like this and like knock the book, like that's exactly what it looked like. I couldn't see him do it, but I could feel it. Ooh, look at that. Ooh. Okay, so here is the card. Trust. This is a difficult for some of you, they said. Leap into the unknown. Have faith and move forward. Believe you will fly. One of your spirit guides, oh my gosh, he sounds like what was his name? Dynamite, like from the 70s when I was a kid. Fat Albert, or not Fat Albert, but Jimmy Carter or whatever, that, you know what I'm talking about, the actor? What was that show? Anyway, that's what I'm getting from them, like in a really cute, funny, like this spirit guide has a lot of sass and they are looking out for you. So like seriously, I wish I can explain it better, but they really, really love you guys. It says, your soul is calling on you to take a courageous leap of faith and launch into the unknown. You know deep down that you cannot stay where you are
and you're doing the same things in the same way any longer. You know it is time for change. It is time to get out of your comfort zone, to expand and to explore. Yet a part of you is hesitating. You feel as if you are at the edge of a cliff, not fully believing that when you take the leap, your wings will appear and you will soar. You may be putting off what you know you need to do. You may be avoiding things that scare you and making excuses to stay in your comfort zone. This winged horse wants you to know that she is here to support you and it is safe for you to make this change. She reminds you, ooh, whoa, what was that? See, I feel like they're just like, there's so much energy here, you guys. There's so much energy. Hold on, let me find my place. Okay. This winged horse wants you to know that she is here to support you and it is safe for you to make this change. She reminds you that you have free will and can make this choice. You can give it to fear. You can give in to fear, stay where you are, and never find out what else is out there for you. Or you can have the courage and faith to take a risk. It's time to choose your dreams, reading 3. Love it. Allow yourself to get excited about leaping into the unknown. Let go of control and choose a life of surprise. It is time to throw caution to the wind. Be courageous and trust. When you are brave and take a leap, your wings will appear and you will soar. And you know what's so interesting? I don't know if it was reading 1 or reading 2, but I literally paraphrased that quote about being brave isn't the absence of fear. It's about being afraid and doing it anyway. Because, it's that old saying, I said this to someone today. I'm like, on your deathbed, I'm like, are you gonna, how do you think you're gonna feel? And that's what they want you to start looking at and seeing things. Like, do you want to be, when I looked down, I saw 131:24, and I don't know if those numbers mean anything to anybody, but today is the 31st, and it's like one's our new beginning. Today's the 31st, and then I don't know if that means anything to you guys, but 7 came up when I started this reading, I think it was when I added up your numbers to your timestamp. But we spoke about that too in one of the other readings about cycles, and going in groups of 7. So it could be too that like, you're done now, like whatever lessons you were learning, like, don't be afraid to try. And my eyes are going back to the action card, so let me see if they wanted me to read from the book. Do you want me to read from the book now, from action? Okay. They're just saying, no, it's just time for you to take action. And look at the way they have these, it's like, and also it kind of feels like as above, so below, right? Because it's like this one is like running towards you, like they're running out of the light. They're fierce. They are fierce. There is absolutely positively no fear in them. They are like, let's go, let's get it. They're like, get it, like they're ready to go. And, this one is like, has one foot up, like I kind of want to, it's like they're afraid to leap, but they're on this cliff, right? Like you have to do it. Like there's nowhere else to go. You can either try and go down, or you can just jump and pray that your wings are gonna, and trust that your wings are going to work. And what I just noticed, you guys, is that 3 out of the 4 cards are Pegasus, which is all about flying, which is all about freedom. So let's go in. Are you ready for like the verbiage under your last card? And also, I love this one with the precious pink in there. It's so cute. Expansion, of course. Of course. I mean, expansion, right? Like that's exactly what's happening right now. This is how you're going to grow. I'm hearing that for some of you, control is an issue, and that's why, because you're not sure what's going to happen. You don't know what's going to happen, and they're like, but that's the whole point. The not knowing, that's the gift, is the not knowing, that's what they're trying to show you. That's where the gift is. You know, look at like the spider. You know, they don't live very long. People don't realize. And if you ever watch them make their web, it's like, it's mesmerizing. It's literally mesmerizing. And then to watch them just sit there patiently, and then they catch something and have them run to it, and they just, man, they're like, and they put it on the web, and it's like, that's it. And, you know, I watched a situation with the spider recently and do the whole fading and everything. It happened so fast, and it was like, I don't even know how to take it. I'm like, that is some intense shit right there. You know what I mean? It's like, but they're very, like, they don't hesitate. When they, you know, if food, they have to sit there and wait for their food to come. Spiders, they don't move a lot because it exhausts them. You know, they don't eat a lot. So they have to conserve their energy. That's another reason why I always ask people not to scare them, especially in times where they're a little weaker and they don't have as much food, because it exerts so much energy for them. It's like taking light years, you know, life years and light years too, off of their existence. So seriously, work closely with the spider medicine, and if you're called to, work with the Unipeg and or the, excuse me, maybe the Pegasus and the unicorn. And you know, maybe you, if you were drawn to reading one or two, you might want to check them out because there were Unipegs in those. So maybe, you know, it wasn't a Freudian slip. I don't believe anything ever is. So this is very, very powerful. Spread your wings and soar. Share your message and shine your light. Show the world what you're made of. And look at how the lights naturally came up. I didn't do that. So, no fear. It's a man-made construct to keep us in line. And a lot of sensitives control things because of the way that we've had to survive in the world. We were born this way. Baby, we were born this way. Right? So, like, you know, people, yes, we can get stronger. Absolutely. We can get stronger. But at the same time, you know, we still have a different threshold for what we can and can't handle energetically. And I'm hearing from spirit, like, don't put that pressure on yourself. You know, you got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to walk away, and know when to run. Thank you, ancestor Kenny Rogers, right? Because it's all about using our intuition and our discernment. So, expansion, spread your wings and soar, share your message and shine your light, show the world what you're made of. That's it. You are brilliant, talented, and it is now time to soar into your success. Your soul is calling you to share your message, shine your light, and make a difference. Have the courage to do the things that you are scared of. Stretch out of your comfort zone and into your potential. You guys, every single one of these readings talked about stepping out of your comfort zone. Although you may feel some discomfort at first, you will soon feel like this Pegasus, flying out of the clouds and into brighter skies. Do not allow anyone or anything to clip your wings, keep you grounded, or make you feel less than you really are. Others may feel uncomfortable as you expand. They are just anxious. You will leave them behind. Instead of shrinking yourself to appease their fears, stay true to your path and continue soaring higher and shining brighter. By doing this, you will show them how to do the same. It is up to them to have the courage to follow. You came here for greatness, and it is now time to show the world your magic. It's on page 37, which is 37 was in your timestamp. It was either somewhere in there. I think it was like anyway, that's powerful. Because I remember looking at it going, I was adding your numbers up together, that it was 10. So you're ready. 7 and 3 is 10. We spoke about 3 at the beginning and then 7. Add them together, it's completion. You're done. No more hiding, no more hermit mode, no more, you know, like if you're going into winter
and you want to work on your craft, that's one thing. But this is not a time to just like act like what you have isn't special, because it is very special and it is much, much needed. And though I wanted to go down here because I think it looks pretty, they were like, no, they're like, leave it be. You are the light. You are the light. And the Spirit says, will you please trust us? They're like, will you please, please, please trust us? Trust that whatever it is, whatever your gift is, whatever your, bring your trust over here. Because I love that these two, they're like flying into each other. And when you're having those moments of doubt, go in the loop, go back, you know what I mean? Like, think of this as a circle. Go in a loop from trust to action. Sometimes they have me do this when it feels like they have me kind of like reshuffle them in the order that they want you to see them. Okay. I felt like I needed to change. Okay. And let me see. Sometimes it is for the, it's different for everybody. Sometimes it's about the visual. It's very important for some people. Let me ask them any more questions. Okay, I knew it. I was like, are we not going to read action? Because I really, really felt like we were going to. Drink some water. And then we're going to, oh, there was also some channeling and reading too. Like specific names came through, like shout outs from the other side, from the ancestors. It may happen with yours, but if not, it came up now. I just wanted to say that it was in reading too. Okay, at the end. Okay, action. And action. Now is the perfect time to act. Take inspired action towards your dreams. Move forward with confidence. You have prepared, trained, and done the inner work to be ready for this opportunity. The pieces are lined up. The timing is perfect. All that requires is for you to take action. Have unwavering belief in yourself and take the next steps. You already have everything within you that you need to do this. You may feel some resistance or hesitation, but this is not the time for doubt or procrastination. You are ready. Listen to your courageous heart, not your fearful ego. Ignore any excuses about why you can't. Remember, you are powerful, capable, and the entire universe is on your side. Call on the unicorns to keep you moving forward and remind you that on the other side of this action is the success that you desire. The unicorns are beside you, urging you forward, encouraging you to take action on your dreams without further delay. Page 23, which is also number 5, and 5s are about change and transformation. It's time, reading 3. You don't need anything else. You have everything you need. I remember saying one time, I'm like, oh, well, I don't have this and I don't have that. And my friend was like, yeah, but you have this and you have that. And I was like, yeah, I guess that's true. And it's like, we'll give her, when we don't want to do something out of fear or because we think we're not good enough, which is fear-based as well. There's always some underlying thing behind it. Right? So it's time to get to the root of it. And the more you do it, the less fear you'll have. This is the time to confront all of your fears. No more fears. And look at how, how they had me move the cards around? What I just noticed, and I think they'll let me do this. I'm going to try and go down so the words will stick out a little bit more. But did you notice how trust and freedom are going towards each other? But look at how, so they're saying whenever you're having a moment of not trusting yourself or trusting spirit, remember that on the other side of that is freedom. Because look, this Pegasus is still sitting here. I don't know
And this one's like, woohoo! And they're like flying. They're like having a good old time. They're not even concerned about it. Also, I think it's interesting that this one is like, it looks kind of like white, and then it has like a dark mane. And this Pegasus is white, and this beautiful soul that's on them has dark hair, like a dark mane. It's almost like it's like this, it was like two, like the light and shadow, right? But instead it's like two, or one became two, meaning like they didn't have to just stay in this energy. They can have both. We're meant to, we all have divine masculine, divine feminine. We all have light, we all have shadow. We need it, and we need our ego to survive, but we cannot let it run the show. It's just they're not there for that purpose. And so they're saying, remember that every time that you're nervous or scared, or you're not trusting the process, remember that on the other side of that is freedom. Because even if you don't win that thing and you fail and you fall down 100 times, that's good, because every time you fail, every time you fall down and get back up, every time something doesn't go your way and you try it again, you learn more, you get better, and you get better, and you get better, and you get better. I started crying the other day because I used to be able to sing without even having, because I sing all the time at home, like I'm always singing. And so I'm always like, whatever. But I haven't really, really been practicing the way I used to in years. And this song came on that I used to love to sing, and I was cracking all over the place. I sounded horrible. I was flat. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm horrible. I'm like, I suck. I can't sing anymore. I'm old now. I mean, all these things. And I'm like, no, you just haven't practiced. And it's just like any other instrument, right? It's like any other thing. You have to keep up with it. You got to keep practicing. It's like languages, you know. I've learned so many languages, but I learned the one main thing is that if you don't keep practicing the language, you'll forget it. Our brains are like computers, right? And they hold so much information. But if we don't keep, it's like you have to keep doing something until until it sticks, until it feels good. And then on to these two, I love it because it's like the expansion and action. It's like, this is your cause and effect. Because you take action, you will be expanding not just your mind, but your horizons. And like, if you've always wanted to live in a certain place, it's like, then put it on, make a vision board. I feel like your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to make a vision board. Also, your Taylor Swift song is Delicate, but it is on the Reputation album. And reading two, Spirit challenged them to listen to the whole album. And maybe that's something you need to do too, to help inspire you. We are all here as artists and light workers to inspire, obviously others, but ourselves. And we're here to inspire each other and ourselves. That's basically what this whole thing is for. So you got this, reading 3. I believe in you, and Spirit believes in you. And I know you believe in yourself too. It's just the basic things. For some of you, it's age, because we've been told, a bunch of bullshit. Like, if you don't do this by this age, you can't do this, you can't, there's so many things. I mean, I can go through so many examples, but you understand, you live in the same world I do. Well, basically we all do. We're all kind of in the same world, but different worlds and different dimensions, and it's all the same, but you get what I'm saying. So your freedom, financial, emotional, mental, all of those things lie in putting out what makes you happy. Do you love to knit all day long? Make a job out of it. You can do it. You can have a really beautiful life. You want to be a writer? Be a writer. You want to be a dancer? I definitely feel like you guys are creatives, but I also felt Reiki and hands-on healers. I felt mediums. So, obviously, we're not just one-trick ponies, right? Like, even though I'm doing this and I'm a medium, I'm also an artist. And most light workers are. We're multidimensional creatures, and we've been here many times and studied many things. So there's no surprise that we would be more expansive. So let's see, do we have any more messages for reading 3, or any channeled crossed over loved ones? We're getting really close to the veil being, when I started this, it's got to be 1 a.m. now. It has to be, because I took breaks and everything. I started this at 10:49 my time, and it's been almost 2 hours. So do we have any more messages for reading 3 before we say goodbye? Nope, that's it, you guys. Like I said, if you want to, if you're interested to see if you feel like you're meant to, um, listen to all of reading two, or just go to the end of it. I didn't put there won't be a timestamp for it, but it'll be towards the end of the reading, that we had some channeling come through from some passed on loved ones. Anyway, it's late. I'm tired. It's been a magical day. Blessed Samhain. I love you so much. Spirit loves you so much. All of my information, if you'd like to work with me one-on-one, or if you'd like to contribute to any of the work that I do on this channel, is on this channel in links that are provided, and my email address. And remember that it's all about the exchange of energy, and that prayer is free. I love you. See you next time. Blessed be. Oh.